Hello and welcome back to the Heroes Hype Amateur Series Week 14. I am Gillyweed SC2 and Inimical has gone ahead and let Anna come in and cast. So hello, Anna.
I transformed. Inimical changed faces. Yeah, hi. Welcome to everyone, and thank you for having me. I'm really excited to start casting. How have the matches been so far, Gilly?
They have been, well, match has been pretty good. We had the dinner excuse versus the brunch excuse last game.
Which is awesome.
Yes.
It's the battle of the excuses.
And the battle of meals as well. We had a little bit of an issue in the first match that made Gilly a little salty, but we all got through it alive. Yes, we had somebody who went into a quick match right before the tournament and was not ready, and so we had to DQ and things happened. But that's all right. It's all in the past. We do want to thank Inimical so much for joining us in the stream. So guys, if you could please go follow Inimical. It's InimicalGG on Twitter and Twitch, and tell him thank you for casting for us as we bid adieu to him and say hello to Anna. Anna, are you ready to cast some Wild Growth versus Envy Gaming?
Oh, yes, I sure am. This is going to be a fun one. Are we in the draft already?
We are in the draft, and I think I sent you a link, so I'm going to go ahead and switch over to that, and there it is. Envy Gaming has the first pick and first ban. So far no ban, but we are going to be on Cursed Hollow. So this is, I believe, the first time we'll be seeing this map, as the first match was supposed to be on Sky Temple and the last one was on Blackheart's Bay. You missed a Blackheart's Bay map, actually.
Darn it. But Cursed Hollow is slowly but surely rising to the top of maps I love. I really like to see teams face off on Cursed Hollow because I think it's a really good map for showing off team strengths. So I like to see what teams are really good at on this map.
Yeah, I like that it forces fights in weird locations. That's my favorite thing about this map. And Envy Gaming has chosen to ban Kael'thas. Not a ban I disagree with. He is so powerful and seems to be getting more powerful as teams figure out how to utilize him. He has the ability, of course, to stun, and it's a good stun at that, and then throw out a ton of bursty damage. Really, his only drawback is that he does not have any sort of escape.
And he is fairly squishy, so the few games I've played with him, as long as he can stay behind someone who can protect him and out of the way of direct damage, he does just kind of wreck face. Yes,
indeed. Wild Growth has chosen to ban the Lost Vikings. Another super solid choice. The Lost Vikings have been out of control. It's funny, they've even been nerfed, and it still seems like they're out of control with win rates. They have the ability to passively soak XP as they sit in lanes, and on any map where you have to leave lane in order to pick up a map objective, like the tributes, you're forced to go over to them because they are so powerful. When you can have those Vikings soaking, it can really put your team at a disadvantage trying to have to deal with them. Envy Gaming have chosen to first pick Illidan, and Wild Growth have followed up with Sylvanas and Jaina. So a little bit of two of the three of the Chicks with Hood squads.
Yes, we've been looking for a name for them, and Chicks with Hoods is exactly right. I would not be surprised to see Vala join the ranks very soon and finish out the Chicks with Hoods, the spread, if you will. But I like that what we're seeing is bans that don't kick out all of the really, really strong heroes. We're getting to enough heroes here where, Illidan is popping up as a first pick instead of a ban because you only have two bans. So that guy is here, and Vala, Sylvanas are here, and Vala is going to join the ranks. We're going to see Brightwing Vala. Brightwing is second pick for Envy Gaming. Why do you think they prioritize Brightwing that way?
I'll tell you why they prioritized Brightwing that way. Brightwing is the support that we see teams picking up to deal with Illidan. Brightwing, that little fairy dragon, wrecks Illidan. Polymorph is so difficult to deal with because you jump in and hey, you're polymorphed, and then you have to go back and leave. Or you wait and use it once he uses Metamorphosis, and then once you have 16, you have Criterize, and then you're vulnerable, taking more damage, and then you're taken out before you even stop being a little squirrel or crab. And with the damage potential from Jaina and Sylvanas, but especially that burstiness from Jaina, having a critterize, like the polymorph and then critterize on top of that, he would just melt. And so I think Envy Gaming were really excited to see Wild Growth not pick up Brightwing to deal with him initially. But Wild Growth do still have a plan for Illidan, and that plan is Muradin.
And Gilly, why would they pick Muradin to deal with Illidan?
Muradin has his Thunderclap ability. You can spec into it with your talents, and what that does is it reduces, I believe, the attack speed of your enemies that are hit by it. And so what you do is you wait until he jumps in, and then you're there, and then you can hit it, and then he's not as effective, and then you can deal with him. And then on top of that, of course, Illidan has to jump into the fight, especially with Metamorphosis. What you'll see a lot of times is he'll Metamorphosis in on top of several heroes from the enemy team, because the more heroes you have in that, the stronger he is in this Metamorphosis form. And so what he does is after that, he immediately leaves for a bit, generally if everyone's there, and then like comes back in and attacks when it's more convenient for him position-wise. But if you can stun him whenever he is a little bit out of position using Muradin, then you can burn him down pretty quickly. And they've chosen to round out their damage ranks by picking up Tychus as well.
Yeah, Wild Growth looking pretty scary damage-wise here. I mean, Sylvanas is very useful for multiple reasons, but especially, you know, mercenary camps, pushing lanes, all sorts of things. She can also hold her own in a team fight, but when you've got Jaina and Tychus on top of that, really strong damage dealers, and Muradin, as you were saying, a tank that can do a lot of great crowd control as well as take a lot of damage. Wild Growth is looking really solid, but Envy is as well. Illidan and Vala are certainly faces that we see very commonly on teams that really like to be aggressive. Ooh, and Envy is going to go with Diablo and Zeratul.
So we're finally going to be able to see the new Diablo transformed by patch. We will have a Diablo emerge. I don't know if we had a Diablo last week. I think people were really trying to figure him out.
I think you're right.
And we even have the Zeratul too. We've seen Void Prison Apocalypse, and I have to wonder if Envy is going to go for some sort of wombo like that.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense to me, and I love seeing that one. There's a lot of team coordination that goes into that, so when teams can communicate at that level, that makes the match really fun to watch. Now we have Wild Growth with one more pick left, so they're probably analyzing Envy's makeup and thinking, what kind of wombo are we going to be dealing with, and what do we need to do to interrupt it and make it not so devastating? You whispered Falstad. Is that what you're hoping for over here? Because we definitely probably need a support for Wild Growth. Maybe.
I was hoping for Falstad on Envy Gaming, yeah. Wild Growth has to get a support here, and they will pick up Malfurion. Malfurion's a super solid choice. I'm really excited to see Malfurion versus Illidan because I like the potential of healing from him. Tranquility on top of a team that's being hit on by Illidan is still really cool to see, because I've often seen him be able to just heal straight through it, and then it's like, okay, well, Illidan's done. Now what? And then you can just take him out.
Yeah, I feel like I see a lot of really great Jaina Malfurion combos with Tranquility. She can just kind of hide under his peaceful canopy and just do all sorts of damage. So great choice from Wild Growth. I really love seeing Malfurion play here.
And about the Tychus pick as well, I know a lot of times we see different assassins, but he is often picked in terms of another hero to deal with Illidan. People really like that laser drill for him, and then also just the way he deals damage because of his overdrive. I believe it's called overdrive. So it's going to be really cool to see. I always like seeing the Illidan versus what teams try to do to deal with that Illidan in any sort of matchup.
Yeah, do you think Envy is looking at any particular hero on behalf of Wild Growth and thinking about how to deal with that particular hero the same way that Wild Growth may be looking to deal with Illidan, or do you think they're going to be specifically looking to be aggressive and not even thinking about being defensive toward any of those heroes?
I think in terms of watching out to make sure that the game doesn't sort of get away from them, they're going to be watching Sylvanas. Because of her black arrow, there is the potential that they could get pushed down even a fort before they've even picked up a curse, because her black arrow stops structures and minions from attacking when she's attacking them. So they will be trying to keep her at bay, and especially because Jaina deals a lot of damage to structures. She's actually a great sieging hero, and to put her together with Sylvanas means that they can siege really fast, even when they don't necessarily have a curse. So that's something that they will be watching out for. In terms of like when they get into a team fight, I do think it will probably be focusing on that Jaina, since she does throw out a ton of damage.
Makes a lot of sense to me. Great analysis, Gilly.
Thank you.
Let's introduce our teams here.
Alright, well for Wild Growth, they're in the blue. We have Jordo playing Tychus, Collusion on Muradin, Jimmy playing Malfurion Forest, or Full Rest on Jaina, however you prefer, and Zox playing Sylvanas.
5, 4.
And in red will be Envy Gaming. We will have Crone on Illidan, Dan Lee for 3 on Zeratul. Monkey Lamps will play Brightwing, Insane will play Diablo, and Spagooter will be on Vala.
Spagooter!
Spagooter! Is that like spaghetti?
I don't know what that
Or a
is. but
scooter?
They've got some great names. Monkey
It is
Lamps.
really fun to say, whatever it is. I really applaud you there, Spagooter.
Oh, snaps! The big gank squad for Wild Growth was there to try to pick up on a Zeratul kill, but weren't able to quite do so. A really quick blink saved the day there. Now we're going to go into the laning phase. It looks like for now we're going to have 3 heroes on the bot for Wild Growth. That's so that they can push this lane as much as possible, so that later on when they decide to pick up their golem, he will be able to push into structures a little more heavily. And it looks like Insane, Dan Lee, and Spagooter are going to be able to pick up a Jaina kill, so they decided to answer this by coming down with 3 and were able to push it off.
Yeah, and we see, of course, 1 hero in both top and middle lane for each team. Sylvanas will be matched up with Brightwing here in the top lane, and Muradin with Illidan here in the mid. But as you can see, we'll probably see some rotation between bottom and mid. That's pretty common. And we also actually see Dan Lee for 3 heading up very sneakily to top to try to help Brightwing deal with Zox. Is that how you say it? On Sylvanas.
I think it is. Yeah, they've got a pretty good gank squad opportunity set up between the Zeratul and the Diablo, because they can both get in front of an enemy hero with overpower and then blink and then just body block them, keep them from being able to get back to the safety of their gates. And so Wild Growth is going to have to be really cognizant of that as they continue to lane. Soon we're going to have the first tribute spawning though, and that will change things up a bit.
Absolutely. We see the gank squad heading up to mid here. Illidan is all alone with Collusion. Forrest and Jordo going to try to attack. Will Crone go down? He is stunned, and yes, will go down. But there are 3 members of Envy here to answer for that. They won't get a good engage, so Collusion and Jordo will get away scot-free. Although Jaina, it looks like, did go down.
Yeah, so it was a 1-1 trade there. Wild Growth was a little bit on the favorable side there in that, at least, because they still had someone soaking bot here for a little bit more. But as you can see, Spagooter got down here pretty quickly, and now they're neck and neck in experience with Envy Gaming having slight lead. Here comes the first tribute though, and interesting, the Jaina build picking up Winter's Reach, increasing the range of the Frostbow. We almost never see that, instead going for one of the 2 talents that favor her hero trait.
Yeah, it looks like Forrest is channeling the tribute. Will not be able to grab it before Dan Lee for 3, or somebody gets in there and cancels it. We see a lot of dancing around coming from Envy. They know they are 3 on 5 and they can't really engage, so it looks like Wild Growth is going to take that first tribute. But they do not have to despair, because that is only 1 of 3 tributes that are needed before you would get a curse. The curse, of course, would make minions all have 1 health point, and they would keep your structures from attacking. So that is something that each team want to do, but it's going to take them 3 captures in order to be able to do that.
Yeah, and we can see that Envy Gaming had that plan all along. They knew they probably wouldn't be able to pick up the tribute, so what they wanted to do was just stall as long as possible, because that stall meant that Wild Growth was out of lane for a long amount of time, and that would give the experience lead to Envy Gaming. What they're hoping is that by doing that, they'll get to level 10 first, and then they'll be able to stop a curse from happening from Wild Growth, and then from there they will continue to be able to keep that lead in the later game. So here comes the next tribute. It is going to be top in a position that favors Envy Gaming because of this rock outcropping. I'm wondering if we will see Wild Growth come up to this, or if they'll be content now to just lane, and it looks like maybe they're just going to lane here, knowing that this positioning is not great for them. They don't have their level 7 talents either, so it would be very risky.
I think that's a good call on their part. They don't want to run into a situation where they may be not favored by the terrain when they don't have to, especially when they were a little behind in experience, and now they've evened that up by, like you said, staying in lane. So good call by them, and we see both teams fighting very evenly. Both have 6 force left. There's only a slight difference in kills, as Envy has managed to eke out 1 more kill than Wild Growth, but certainly a very even game so far at this point. We see the teams now turning to Mercenaries, and actually Wild Growth is going to go for that Golem in the bottom lane. Like you said, Gilly, they were focused on making sure to push that lane out early in the game so that that Golem could have room to roam. There's not a whole lot there that they did in the beginning, but it certainly is going to do lots of damage if they manage to capture it here, but Envy is going to come in and try to stop or capture it for them. Insane pulling Collusion out of the way, and actually the Envy team will take control of the Golem, who will now push on the bottom lane of Wild Growth instead.
What's really interesting and what really told the tale of that fight was that Jaina got caught out from the rest of the team and did get taken out. And then on top of that, Brightwing has phase shift. She's got global map presence and was able to teleport in, helping make sure that they had an even number of heroes. And then once they took out Jaina, they actually had more. So that forced Wild Growth to have to leave. And now their plan has backfired on them spectacularly, as they have to deal with this giant. Sylvanas has even gone down, and now they're pushing while picking up this tribute here, and looks like they're content to not even pick it up here at first, maybe. Oh.
And now that means that Envy Gaming is actually closing in on level 10, so they may be looking to soak or do something so that they could get level 10 before engaging for a tribute, but it's not going to be quick enough. Collusion is going to pick that up, but now they have 2 out of 3 tributes. And it looks like Envy is content to say, that's fine, because we feel like we're in a great position. We now have level 10, and we're just going to kill you before we get to the next tribute.
Yeah, they knew their opponents had to deal with that boss, which meant they could go up and get their boss. And so they, with knowing that they didn't have enough people to go down and win that tribute fight, they said, fine, you can have the tribute. We're going to get our level 10s. We're going to get this boss that's going to push down your top now as well. And Wild Growth still need level 10. They're going to have to deal with this Golem, and they really need to get both done before the next tribute spawns.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, we see so many times that a team will go for an early big objective like one of these golems, one of these bosses, and it's very risky. If you get it, that's great. You have an early game advantage that people usually don't expect. But if you get in the position that Wild Growth got in this game, where Envy came and contested and stole it from them, now they are going to be on the back foot, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to accomplish everything they need to do right now. The tribute is spawning bot lane. They are out of position here in the top lane, having to defend against this boss, which is pushing their top lane, leaving wide open the tribute for Envy to take.
They did get the boss mostly down, and because the Giants are helping, they are going to head straight for the tribute. They have their heroic abilities as well. They wouldn't have to worry too much, because the next one, even if Envy were to get this one, would not get them a curse. But they still want to fight for this and are going to do so. Already, Water Elemental has been dropped by Forest. There goes Odin from Jordo. They want to engage now, but there is a great Void Prison in here. Comes the Apocalypse. It's going to catch them all stunned. Oh, whoa, man, Tychus already goes down. Next to follow will probably be Sylvanas, as Illidan has chasing Zox down, and there he will go. Jimmy is healing, but only himself. Unfortunately, wasn't quite enough to keep Sylvanas alive there. And now Jaina will go down as well. This tribute will definitely go to Envy Gaming, and I think they might pick up this fort as well.
Yeah, that wasn't a bad idea from Wild Growth, thinking, okay, we are level 10, they're level 11, we are on even footing in terms of talent. We'd like to get the momentum back in our favor by getting a favorable engagement here. The problem was that they just didn't quite get the favorable engagement they were looking for. That Void Prison Apocalypse combo can be devastating, and that stun right after really sealed the deal. And now they have picked up the fort. They're getting close to their level 13 abilities, and Wild Growth is nowhere near that. We do have their heroic abilities. Let's see what we saw in the last fight. We had Metamorphosis, Void Prison, Blink Heal, Apocalypse, and Strafe from Envy Gaming. For Wild Growth, we had Water Elemental, Odin, Avatar, Tranquility, and Wailing Arrow. Yeah, anything there that's of particular interest to you, Gilly, or that you didn't expect? I think most it looks pretty standard.
Oh yeah, I think we, of course, were expecting to see Void Prison into the APOC, which is exactly what helped them secure that combo. And now they're trying to get in on this Vala, but Brightwing is going to phase shift in and immediately drop a protective shield to save her. And that's going to be fine. She's going to get right on out. Oh, that wasn't protective shield, that was just the Brightwing shield, apparently. And that'll be it. Now the next tribute is spawning. Whoever gets this will get a curse.
It looks like Zox is in a good position to grab this tribute while the rest of his team just phases people out of the way. Going to be able to grab that thanks to the rock outcropping and the bottlenecks that happen here in the mid of the map for Cursed Hollow. And that's going to give Wildgrowth the opportunity to push it hard against this top lane while Envy looks to contest, and they are a little bit far away to do so.
Yeah, I don't really think that Envy is too upset about this curse here because they went ahead and defended and they might lose some structures, but overall they know that Wildgrowth is really scared about engaging too far in because they don't have those level 13 talents. So look at them, they're not really getting anything done with this curse now. In fact, on top of being cursed, Envy has picked up their bruisers, and now it looks like maybe Wildgrowth is coming in to at least try to get a gank, and for now are going to go after that Diablo, who is getting very low and will be picked off, but there goes the Apocalypse. It's going to catch a couple of people, and now they've got to try to leave out through the fort, or the tower at least. They're going to take this tower out. They also got the fort because of the minion push, so that's at least helped them pick up their level 13 talents, and they've got to be feeling at least a little bit safer about this now.
The Void Prison actually misses as Wildgrowth turns back to try to take down Insane and Crone. They are having lots of sustainability, but Diablo does go down. Looks like we still have some health on the behalf of Wildgrowth. We lose Illidan as well for Envy. That turn was a really good decision there, Gilly.
Yeah, that was a great turn. They've even picked up Brightwing as well. It's only Zeratul and Vala down, and they're both very low. Looks like Vala will get away. Zeratul as well, but he's got to be careful. They could see him, and he's got to get out the right way. And he's going to go after Jaina, and does actually pick up the Jaina kill, so really good on his part.
Yeah, that was cool to see. And there goes Zeratul. Jordo taking him out here in the forest. It is not safe for little Zeratuls to be running around in the bushes out here at this point. So yeah, really good turn there for Wildgrowth. They are now approaching closer levels. I mean, we're both on the same talent tier at this point. Envy at level 15, but Wildgrowth not too far behind now. Really good decisions and good coordination there. Getting all under Malfuriance, Tranquility, getting all healed up, and then turning at just the right moment to take down members of Envy one by one as they were not expecting it.
Something to notice about the Brightwing build is, for one, she took Promote. We're seeing a ton of Brightwing Taskstars take Promote lately. But then also, instead of getting the Soothing Mist, so having a little bit more healing, she did go ahead and pick up Cleanse. And I do believe that this is because with the Muradin and the Malfurion, getting caught out of position will mean you're going to get rooted, you're going to get stunned, and then you're going to be burned down really fast. And so being able to throw a Cleanse on a teammate who gets rooted or stunned like that could mean the difference in keeping them alive. And she also went Phase Shield, so that weird shield that I thought was Protective Shield earlier was actually Phase Shield, which is a pretty awesome shield when you phase shift in on somebody, as you're often phase shifting on them to try to save them. But both teams have picked up a boss now, and it looks like Envy Gaming is going to push with theirs on top, as it is already heading to 4. There's just a couple towers in its way, but meanwhile, the bottom golem still has to go through an entire fort, as this one's already going to keep.
Yeah, Envy Gaming, interestingly, only needs one tribute in order to get a curse, but they're out of position for that curse. The curse is at the bottom, so it looked like for a second they were going to continue pushing with this boss, but now that they see all 5 members of Wildgrowth here to contest that boss, it looks like they may go and try to grab it. If Wildgrowth had gone for the tribute to steal away from them, I mean, they kind of had 2 bad options there. They wouldn't have gotten a curse out of it. They would have denied the curse to Envy, but Envy could have just grabbed the next one and still had a curse as well. So really good job by Envy, giving 2 bad options to their opponent Wildgrowth. Wildgrowth now looking to maybe get a pick as Envy backs out, but not quite being able to do it.
Yeah, and they wasted the water elemental to do so as well, so that's a little bit unfortunate. There will be 67 seconds left until they can have that again. Wildgrowth are going to choose to defend the curse at this point, but doing a pretty good job in staying even with experience. They really do need to watch their keep on top, though, as it is vulnerable. And this means that at any point, their opponents can push in here if they win a team fight, or even the next time their boss is up, push into that as well, as that could eventually net them the game by pushing through there with the boss. This mid fort will go down, and V is easily picking that up while the curse is still active, and Wildgrowth are choosing to just stay very safe, waiting until the curse is over before they try to make any sort of engagement.
Yeah, we both teams are now at level 16. We see a lot of blood for bloods happening, so definitely teams wanting to be aggressive. Anything else of interest you see there on level 16, Gilly?
Well, I really like Zeratul going for a cleave build here, both at 1-7 with the Void Slash and then even Rending Cleave as well. So really going for dealing a ton of damage with that cleave, being able to pick up kills really fast, being thirstier. And the curse has now subsided, so now teams will just be content. It looks like maybe Envy's actually going to set up some sort of a gank here at these Giants.
Ooh, I love lying in wait kind of traps. I don't know though. We see them sending Zeratul around to flank. That's going to be really exciting. They do not get there in time to take the Giants, but the Void Prison will trap. The Apocalypse goes off, and there's the stun. Very well executed, but the health bars for Wild Growth are still very nice and hefty thanks to Tranquility for Muradin. Looks like Crone is going to be pushed out of position, is in a bit of trouble, but does Metamorphosis. Trying to get away, but gets stunned and will go down. Oh my goodness, Gilly.
That was a beautiful Tranquility from Jimmy. Just crazy. And then on top of that, they took out Vala really, really fast. So great focused firing there. Even though they were caught in that Void Prison, knowing exactly, okay, we gotta hit Vala as soon as we are out of this, taking her out really fast. From there, they came out on top of that, even though they were Void Prison Apocalypse, so that's got to be a great feeling. They're going after Insane here. They've got a stun on him from the Muradin, and now everyone is after him as well. They will be able to take him out, and now they're going for this last four of their opponents.
Stanley for 3 sneaking around back as he is stealthy and doesn't have to worry too much about being seen, but it looks like Wild Growth did notice his shimmer and did pull him out of his stealth mode there. Not too much damage to be done, but they have cleared out this whole area and now are pushing on the inner wall in the mid lane.
Yeah, they are so close to 20. With a turret kill, they will have it. They would have it very quickly anyway. Here comes Stanley again, just going to poke. He can do that because he's got that Wormhole talent. And there is level 20 for Wild Growth. We see Jaina and Sylvanas picking up that Bolt of the Storm. Big red button for Tychus. Rewind for Muradin, and then a Storm Shield for Malfurion. So really making sure that they're not getting caught out with those bolts, and then even a little bit more sustainability as well.
It looks like Wild Growth hiding out here in the forest, trying to determine a good spot to get a pick. Jumping in on Crone and actually taking him down. I did not expect that. They are really on a rampage at this point. What do you think is making them so strong here in the later game when it looked like they may have struggled a little bit early on?
Well, I think part of the problem was that they got behind a little bit in talent, and that they've had to just catch up with that. But they did a really good job of getting a couple of really key picks, not panicking too. That was definitely key. Even when they got Void Prison Apocalypse, I think that was a really key fight there at the Giants. And now they've got their level 20 abilities, so that's something that you don't want to engage into. You want to get your Storm talents before you engage into a team that has the same. And now they're just pressing their advantage. They've taken out the keep top. They're going for the keep mid. They've got great stuns and roots that if they are able to, they'll get picks very quickly, as Forrest and Jordo can instantly capitalize on that. They're going to take this keep and be content to walk away. Just now going and picking up the tribute.
We mentioned that this is the first time we've seen Diablo come back. I think we're going to see players trying to figure out what his place is in the game nowadays. Of course, the Void Prison Apocalypse combo was something that Envy was really looking for. But are we seeing Diablo struggle here in other ways? Is that why we're seeing some weakness here? Or have we just seen some unfortunate fights? What do you think, Gilly?
I think Diablo is definitely, like, he's getting caught out right here as well. Diablo is not as bulky as he was before, although this Diablo is choosing to build the Soul Feast, all of the Soul Stone talents with the Soul Feast, and then Soul Catcher, Soul Steal, and even Siphon the Dead. So they're really trying to bulk him up as much as possible. But I think that if you are not getting... The Soul Stone is all about getting kills, right? They do have the Soul Catcher passively generating the souls, but it's just, I think, a lot of learning the hero, trying to figure out what's going to work best for him, and adapting to that change.
Yeah, I think we've seen him get caught out quite a few times, and Diablo is cumbersome. He is slow. He does not go anywhere fast. In the past, like you said, he may have been a little more beefy, able to take some more hits, but not as much now. I have not seen as much of overpower as I would like to see in this game, because that's one of my favorite abilities in the game. I'm hoping that we can make that really viable and do some interesting things with it as we see Diablo grow again. Speaking of growth, Wild Growth is now pushing in the top. Actually going to rotate down, it looks like, to the Tribute. They're going to go ahead and take that. That's going to give them 2 out of 3 Tributes. They do have to be on alert, though, because there is a boss pushing for Envy on the top, so they're probably going to have to fall back and defend there.
Yeah, they know that they've got a boss pushing about the same, but this boss is going to push right onto their keep, which is already at half health. So they definitely need to deal with that. They want to keep an advantage by not having a lane have catapults, although it does seem like this boss will be able to take out this keep. So they will have 1 lane pushing with catapults, but there's still 2 pushing for Envy, so it's not too big of a deal here. Storm Talons have been picked up by Envy Gaming. We've got 2 Bolt of the Storms on their side as well, and Zeratul did get rewind, so going to have lots of bombs and flanking ability too, and then Storm Shield for Brightwing and Dying Breath for Diablo. So at least if Diablo gets cut out again, an Apocalypse will cast for free there, and they can, the cooldown's reduced as well too, so they're going to be able to be casting Apocalypse a lot more.
Interestingly, I saw this tribute spawn here, and it was of advantage for Wild Growth, and I thought they would go for that, but they did not. They anticipated that their opponents, Envy, are going to be looking for them at the tribute, and instead it looks like they're going top to try for maybe a push to win the game. I don't know what they're waiting for there, though.
They are waiting for those minions to die. They do not want to be seen until the very last second. So here go the minions, and actually they might just be waiting for... I think they are really scaring their opponents. They know their opponents are not picking up tribute, right? Because you can see when that happens. So they're just standing there. I think they are just going to wait until this minion wave clears here as well. And then they'll go in, and there they go. They're going in for it. They want to go for core here. They deal a ton of damage, and by this point, nobody is even backing. They're just now backing. They've gotten back, and already the shield on the core is down. Wailing arrow drops. There's roots already waiting for Envy. A great Void Prison on the core, though, and that's going to delay it just a little bit. And now Apocalypse has stunned a whole bunch of people. They're throwing everything they can at the core. They should be able to get it. They still got a full Odin up on it, and that will be game. Wild Growth picking up the game with a crazy push there at the end.
I love that. I love when teams are patient, because this game is so fast-paced that you feel like you have to constantly be doing something. And you do. You need to be taking advantages at all points in the game and moving very quickly. But there are those moments where waiting a few moments can push your enemy off the trail. And you saw even, at the tribute, Brightwing throwing some feelers out like, hey, are you guys coming? Are you waiting to gank us? What's going on here? And the moment they realized what was happening, it was too late. So I love that creative and kind of sneaky psychology gameplay. Really fun to watch. So thank you to both teams there.
Yeah, great play from by both teams. I really liked when Envy Gaming was able to steal that boss. I think that it was a really quick and decisive, awesome play, noticing, hey guys, we don't have them on the map. What's going on? They're at their boss. Let's go. We have to check it. And Vala instantly checked it. They were able to go after it, and they did pick up that. And that really put Wild Growth on the back foot for a long time. But then getting caught out a couple of times meant that Wild Growth was able to come back, and then a curse really helped them catch back up at that level 13 point, and then from there they just pushed their advantage. And that was a really awesome play at the end to see Wild Growth sit and wait. They said, we can't show ourselves in the lane because they're going to be backing, and then they're going to wonder where we're at. They're going to know we're probably sitting around the tribute, and so we're just going to go ahead and let minions push all the way to the core and then run in, give them the least amount of time possible to go back, and it worked.
And I really think that the Tranquility was one of the MVP abilities of that game. I saw Tranquility make a really big difference in those team fights, because the damage dealers of Wild Growth were able to stay under that umbrella, like we said, and really just wreak havoc while staying very healthy.
Yeah, I really, really love Malfurion versus the Illidan. That Tranquility, like that fight where they were Void Prison and Apocalypse, they had no business winning that, but they did. They had the correct focus, a perfect focus. They capitalized on Vala being right up close because she wanted to throw her strafe down as many people as possible. And then Malfurion was like, oh, out of Void Prison, R. So much R, throwing all of the heals. And that was really cool to see. So great job to the team, staying cool, calm, and collected to Wild Growth, and they'll be moving on to the semifinals. We, meanwhile, are going to take a short break while we get ready to cast a best of 3 for you guys in the semifinals. We are going to run a commercial. Don't forget that we just got partnered, and so we really want to to capitalize on that and where we can. And we're just going to run a commercial. It's not going to be very, very long, but when we get back, we will have a semi-final for you, and we'll see you soon.